for the year ended December 31, 2023. 2. To consider the trustees' reports and the reports of auditors for the year ended December 31, 2023. 3. To receive and adopt the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2023. And 4. To authorize the manager to fix the remuneration of the auditors, dated May 31, 2024, by order of the manager, Stanbic Investment Management Services Limited, on behalf of the trustee, Universal Merchant Bank Limited. Note: attendance and participation by all unit holders and/or their proxies in this year's AGM of the fund shall be strictly virtual, that is, by online participation. A unit holder entitled to attend and vote at the AGM may appoint a proxy to attend via online participation and vote on his or her behalf. Such a proxy need not be a unit holder of the fund. The appointment of a proxy will not prevent a unit holder from subsequently attending and voting at the meeting via online participation. Where a unit holder attends the meeting in person via the online portal, the proxy appointment shall be deemed to be revoked. A copy of the proxy form can be downloaded from https://simscisagm.com and may be filled and sent via email to trust@umbcapital.com or deposited at the registered office of the trustee of the fund, Universal Merchant Bank Ghana Limited, Snit Emporium, Liberation Road, Accra, not later than 10 a.m. on Monday, July 1st, 2024. Accessing and voting at the virtual AGM. A unique token number will be sent to unit holders by email and/or SMS from June 12, 2024, to give them access to the meeting. Unit holders who do not receive this token can contact the UMB at trust@umbcapital.com or call 0302-251-137 or 0302-251-138 anytime after June 12, 2024, but before the date of the AGM, to be sent the unique token. To gain access to the virtual AGM, unit holders must visit https://simscisagm.com and input their unique token number on Wednesday, July 3, 2024. For unit holders who do not submit proxy forms to the trustee of the fund prior to the meeting, they may vote electronically during the virtual AGM again using their unique token number. Further assistance on accessing the meeting and voting electronically can be found on https://simscisagm.com. For further information, please contact the trustee, Universal Merchant Bank Ghana Limited, Snit Emporium, Liberation Road, Accra, on mobile number 055-256-560 or email trust@umbcapital.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Esiamwa. The first item on the agenda is to receive the report of the manager of the fund for the year ended December 31, 2023. I call upon Mr. Nanabenyin A. Duforson to read the report of the manager to unit holders.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, and welcome to the 2023 Annual General Meeting of the Stanbic Income Fund Trust, SIFT, or the fund. I'll take the economic outturn for which decisions were made. Global growth remains subdued, plagued by the heightened geopolitical conflict in the Middle East and a restrictive credit environment. Global inflation retreated from its 2022 peak, which was helped by tighter global monetary conditions and a favorable base drift effect in 2023. The financial markets also deteriorated, undermined by the eroded fiscal buffers, rising sovereign bond yields, volatile equity markets, and higher borrowing costs. The Ghanaian economy recorded a recovery, evidenced by year-on-year GDP growth of 2.9% compared with a revised target of 2.3%. Headline inflation fell sharply from 54.1% in December 2023 to 23.2% in December 2020, from 54.1% in December 2022 to 23.2% as of December 2023. The cool-off was induced by the drop in food and non-food inflation, a stable cedi, a favorable base effect pool, and the central bank's restrictive policy stance. The central bank paused its monetary policy rate hike at 30% as at the second half of 2023 to curtail inflation, whilst increasing the cash reserve ratio to 15% on domestic and foreign currency deposits to reduce money supply. The cedi remained relatively stable for 2023 with a cumulative depreciation of 27.81 for December 2023, compared with a year-end loss of 30% in 2022. The stable performance stemmed from the improved gross international cover to 2.4 months as of December 2023, thanks to the receipt of $600 million from the IMF, and $541 million due to the cocoa syndicated loan, a positive trade balance of 3.4% as of December, coupled with a freeze in foreign debt payments as the debt restructuring negotiations progressed. The Bank of Ghana likewise increases market interventions through the domestic gold purchase program, bi-weekly forex auctions, and the hard currency purchases from the mining companies' export proceeds. The government completed its first economic review under the $3 billion enhanced credit facility to unlock a second tranche of $600 million, subject to a formal debt negotiation agreement from bilateral creditors. Additionally, discussions with Eurobond investors holding approximately $13 billion worth of Ghana's bonds remain inconclusive as of December 2023. The stock market maintained a positive rally, up by 28.8% at the close of 2023 reporting period, bolstered by capital gains in the dividend-paying non-financial stocks. However, the financial stock index remained red at an index level of 1,901.57 points, translating to a year-end loss of 7.36%. Market capitalization rose by 14.55 year-on-year, driven by rallies in MTN, Total Energy, Societe Generale, and Benso Oil Palm Plantation. Trade activity was, however, subdued as volume traded decreased by 56.59% year-on-year to 579.868 million shares, while the value slumped by 50.1% year-on-year to 818.2 million Ghana cedis. Trade activity on the Ghana fixed income market was lackluster despite the completion of the domestic debt exchange program. Investor interest remained skewed towards short-term securities as ongoing external debt restructuring discussions remained a market overhang. Yields on the Government of Ghana Treasury bills, the 91-day, 182-day, and the 364-day ended December 2023 at 29.24%, 31.88%, 32.49% respectively, underpinned by the increased uptake from local investors seeking higher yields. The newly minted DDP bonds remained less attractive to investors, given the low coupon rates of 8 to 15%. I'll now take the investments and the performance of the fund. For the year under review, Stanbic Income Fund Trust assets under management ended the year at 380.6 million Ghana cedis, representing a 24% decline from the previous year. The fund, however, improved its liquidity position from 4.4% of AUM in 2022 to 5.3% in 2023. Moving on to the portfolio asset mix. The total portfolio asset as at 31st December stood at 380.6 million Ghana cedis. Bonds made up 86.5% of the fund's investments, with 8.1% invested in money market instruments and approximately 5.3% in cash and near cash securities as at the end of the reporting period. The graph below shows the asset class mix for the main class and the AMC subclass. Moving on to the returns. The main class posted a decline of 18.71% based on the mark-to-market valuation of the portfolio's assets, while the subclass AMC posted a gain of 18.66%. The main class posted an unrealized loss of 78.3 million in 2023 compared to a net gain of 71.5 million reported in 2022. This can be attributed to the elevated yields and the discounted prices on the newly minted DDP bond exposures, given the challenging macroeconomic conditions in 2023. I'll now take the domestic debt exchange program and its impact on the fund. The domestic debt exchange program was launched by the government of Ghana in December 2022 as part of the conditions required to receive support from the IMF. It invited eligible bondholders, holders of ESLA, DACHE, and Government of Ghana bonds to exchange their bonds for a set of new bonds with varied tenors. Collective investment schemes, which formed part of the Category A bondholders, were offered a maturity dates of 2027 and 2028 respectively at a coupon rate of 10%. Relief measures offered to eligible bondholders included potential access to a liquidity support fund. In consultation with the trustee, the fund participated in the program to gain access to the Ghana Financial Stability Fund when fully established, and the expectation was improved liquidity on the secondary bond market. The DDP was concluded on 21st February 2023, and SIFT, the main class, received a total face value of 463.63 million Ghana cedis in new Government of Ghana bonds at a coupon rate of 10%. SIFT's participation in the DDP limited the fund's cash flows given the lower coupon amounts received from the DDP bonds, as well as the fund's ability to meet unit holders' liquidity needs as and when, given the lack of tradability of the new bonds on the secondary bond market. The operationalization of the GFSF and the rebound in the secondary market activity is expected to improve the fund's liquidity and consequently the fund's ability to meet liquidity needs promptly. SIFT will continue to apply the mark-to-market valuation methodology in the valuation of the fund and work towards improving the liquidity position of the fund. I'll now move on to the outlook for 2024. Looking into 2024, global growth remained weak, reflecting a tepid recovery in advanced economies. A reversal in the monetary policy tightening is expected in the second half of the year as inflation pressures recede. Tighter financial conditions will weigh on economic growth and corporate profits as real borrowing costs remain elevated. Energy prices could resume an upward trend, bolstered by escalations in Middle East tensions, potentially impacting supply chains and adversely affecting inflation. Gold prices should sustain an upward trend on ongoing geopolitical risk and amid uncertainties with global elections, with 64 countries heading to the polls this year. Ghana's economic fortunes should improve on the back of sustained fiscal discipline due to the ongoing IMF program. The successful 2-year debt moratorium with bilateral debt creditors worth $5.4 billion unlocked additional funding worth $1.15 billion from the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank in Q1 2024. The improved gross international reserves position should strengthen the Bank of Ghana's supply interventions and stabilize the Ghana cedi. Ghana's inflation should sustain its downward streak, aided by tighter fiscal monetary conditions and supported by a stable cedi. Spillovers from global headwinds in curbing inflation, higher prices due to an escalation in Middle East tensions, and spending from the presidential and parliamentary elections should disrupt Ghana's recovery path. The stock market should sustain a positive rally as investors take positions in quality stocks, trading below intrinsic value. Improved financials from listed companies should increase investor interest before their full-year dividend announcements. We expect some profit taking in selected non-financial stocks that recorded substantial gains in full year 2022. The imminent 2024 presidential and parliamentary election could be an overhang on stock market performance as foreign investors take a laissez-faire stance. On the Ghana fixed income market, we expect yields to remain elevated on the front end of the yield curve. We expect secondary market activity to increase as Ghana concludes negotiations on the external debt restructuring program. Ghana's improving economic environment presents pockets of opportunity for investors. across diverse financial assets. The current higher yield environment makes fixed income securities more attractive to investors. However, it is essential to remain mindful of the potential headwinds that may arise due to the delays in the completion of the external debt restructuring and the elevated inflationary pressures. I'll conclude with the fund strategy. In 2024, the fund strategy is to stay conservative in investing in money market securities and reducing exposure to bonds when market conditions improve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edu-Forson. The next item on the agenda is to consider the trustees' report. I now call upon Mr. Eric Ejeyeboah to read the trustees' report for the year ended December 31, 2023.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Report of the trustees to the unit holders of Stanbic Income Fund Trust. In our opinion, as trustees, and according to the information made available to us and the explanations provided, we confirm that in all material respects, the manager has managed the schemes during the period covered by these financial statements in accordance with the trust deed dated 18th day of July 2016, as amended, and all regulations for the time being in force under the Securities Industry Act 2016, Act 929, and the Unit Trust and Mutual Funds Regulations 2001, LI 1695. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Ejeyeboah. I will now ask the auditor, Baker, Tilly, Under and Under, to read their report.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. Report of the independent auditor to the unit holders of Stanbic Income Fund Trust. Opinion. We have audited the financial statements of Stanbic Income Fund Trust, which comprise the statement of assets and liabilities as at 31st December 2023, income and distribution accounts, portfolio statements, and capital account for the year then ended, and notes to their financial statement, which include a summary of significant accounting policies and other explanatory notes as set out on page 23 to 31. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly, in all material respects, the financial position of the fund as at 31st December 2023, and its financial performance and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standard and in the manner required by the Security Industry Act 2016, Act 929, the Unit Trust and Mutual Fund Regulation 2001, LI 1695, and the Trust deed dated 18th July 2016 as amended. Basis for opinion. We conducted our audit in accordance with international standard on auditing, ISAS. Our responsibilities under these standards are further described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of the financial statements section of our report. We are independent of the fund in accordance with the International Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants, including International Independence Standards, the code issued by the International Ethics Standard Board for Accountants, and we have fulfilled our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with the code. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. Key audit matters. Key audit matters are those matters that, in our professional judgment, were of most significance in our audit of the financial statement of the current period. There are matters to be addressed in the context of our audit of the financial statement as a whole. And in forming our opinion thereon, we do not provide a separate opinion on those matters. There were no material key audit matters to report. Other information. The manager is responsible for the other information. The other information comprises information included in the annual report, but does not include the financial statements and our audit report thereon. Our opinion of the financial statement does not cover the other information, and we do not express any form of assurance conclusion thereon. In connection with our audit of the financial statements, our responsibility is to read the other information and, in doing so, consider whether the other information is materially inconsistent with the financial statements or our knowledge obtained in the audit or otherwise appears to be materially misstated. If, based on the work that we have performed, we conclude that there is a material misstatement of this other information, then we are required to report that fact. We have nothing to report in this regard. Responsibilities of the manager for the financial statements. The manager is responsible for preparation and fair presentation of these financial statements in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standard and in the manner required by the Security Industry Act 2016, Act 929, the Unit Trust and Mutual Fund Regulation 2001, LI 1695, and the trust deed dated 18th July 2016, as amended, and for such internal control as management determines is necessary to enable the preparation of the financial statements that are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. In preparing the financial statements, the manager is responsible for assessing the fund's ability to continue as a going concern, disclosing, as applicable, matters related to going concern and using the going concern basis of accounting, unless the trustees either intend to liquidate the fund or to cease operations, or have no realistic alternative but to do so. The manager is responsible for overseeing the fund's financial reporting process. Auditors' responsibilities for the audit of the financial statement. The objectives of our audits are to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error, and to issue an auditor's opinion that includes our opinion. Reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance, but it's not a guarantee that an audit conducted in accordance with ISAS will always detect a material misstatement when it exists. Misstatements can arise from fraud or error and are considered material if individually or in aggregate they could reasonably be expected to influence the economic decisions of users taken on the basis of this financial statement. As part of our audit, in accordance with ISAS, we exercise professional judgment and maintain professional skepticism through the planning and performance of the audit. We also identify and assess the risks of material misstatements or the financial statements, whether due to fraud or error, design and performance audit procedures responsive to those risks, and obtain audit evidence that is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. The risk of not detecting a material misstatement resulting from a fraud is higher than for one resulting from error, as fraud may involve collusion, forgery, intentional omissions, misrepresentations, or override of internal control. Obtain an understanding of internal control relevant to the audit in order to design audit procedures that are appropriate in the circumstances, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the entity's internal control. Evaluate the appropriateness of accounting policies used and reasonableness of accounting estimates and related disclosures made by management. Conclude on the appropriateness of management's use of the going concern of accounting, and based on the audit evidence obtained, whether a material uncertainty exists related to events or conditions that may cast a significant doubt on the fund's ability to continue as a going concern. If we conclude that a material uncertainty exists, we are required to draw attention in our auditor's report to the related disclosures in the financial statements or if such disclosures are inadequate, to modify our opinion. Our conclusions are based on the audit evidence obtained up to the date of our auditor's report. However, future events or conditions may cause the fund to cease to continue as a going concern. Evaluate the overall presentation structure and content of the financial statement, including the disclosures, and whether the financial statement represent the underlying transaction and events in a manner that achieves fair presentation. We are required to communicate with the manager and the trustees regarding, among other matters, the planned scope and timing of the audit and significant audit findings, including any significant deficiency in internal control that we identified during our audit. Reports on other legal and regulatory requirements. Compliance with the requirements of Part 9 of Schedule 8 of the Unit Trust and Mutual Fund Regulation 2001 LI 1695, we confirm that we have obtained all information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and beliefs, were necessary for the purposes of the audit. In our opinion, proper books of account have been kept by the fund so far as appears from the examination of those books. The fund financial statements are in agreement with the books of accounts. In our opinion, the fund generally complied with the relevant provision of the Security Act 2016, Act 929. The engagement partner of the audit resulting in this independent auditor's report is Saman Abiao. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Avonyo. I now call on Ms. Paulina Okai to present the highlights of the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2023.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I present the financial highlights for the Stanbic Income Trust Fund for the year ended 2023. The fund outperformed its benchmark rates until the sovereign default in 2022, which necessitated the domestic debt restructuring. In response to the customer needs, SIMS introduced the subclass in the latter part of 2022. The returns on the subclass, though below the benchmark rate, is recording gradual rate growth and ended 2023 with returns of 19%. On the other hand, returns on the main class dropped significantly from an 18% in 2022 to a negative return of 19% in 2023, compared to the benchmark rate of 27%. The negative return was as a result of the mark-to-market losses, mainly on the Government of Ghana securities held by the fund. The bar chart at the bottom of the page indicates movements in the fund prices. The price on the main fund recorded a decrease from 8.76 to 7.18, as the class has no inflows, but rather outflows, which was initiated by customer withdrawals. Due to the good positioning of the subclass, the price increased by 19% from 8.96 to 10.65. And this is also reflective of the gradual growth in customer confidence in the subclass. On the total level, the average fund price dropped from 8.8 to 7.3. Referencing page 29 of the audited financials, it can be noted that only 4% of the total assets in 2022 was allocated to money market securities. Following the introduction of the subclass, the allocation in money market securities increased to 13%. The strategy of the subclass, as earlier mentioned by Mr. Forson, the fund manager, is to stay conservative by investing in money market securities and reducing exposure to bonds as and when the market conditions improve. Net asset declined by 23%, from 497 million to 381 million in 2023. And this can be seen on page 16 of the audited financials. The fund had recorded strong momentum in the growth of assets until 2022, where the challenges mentioned earlier occurred. Clients responded with significant withdrawals, which has continued into 2023. This, coupled with the mark-to-market losses on the fund, accounted for the net asset reported for 2023. In 2023, we recorded the lowest level of client activities, as clients were cautionary in response to the evolving investment climate. The number of units decreased by 88% from 39 million to 5 million, whilst the number of units redeemed also decreased by 82% from 5 million to 10 million. The value of units issued decreased by 89% from 442 million cedis to 49 million Ghana cedis. The value of units redeemed also decreased by 85%. Prior year redemption was 593 million, whereas 2023 ended with redemption of 86 million. Referencing page 18 of the financial for the income performance, the total income reduced from 85.2 million in 2022 to a loss of 68.7 million in 2023. The reduction was due to the mark-to-market losses on the Government of Ghana bonds held by the fund. Fund expenses also reduced by 29%, from 13.7 million cedis to 9.7 million Ghana cedis, as the management fee and trustee fees also reduced in line with the fund performance. The above resulted in a net loss of 78.3 million compared to prior profit of 71.5 million. It's important to note, however, that these losses relate only to the main class and not to the subclass. These are the highlights of the Stanbic income financials for 2023. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Ukai. The next item on the agenda is the consideration of the Fund Manager's Report for adoption. I now call on Ms. Esi Amoa to take us through the comment and voting process on the motions put forward.
Steps to comment or ask questions. To second a motion, send a comment or question. Kindly locate the chat box at the right or bottom side of your screen. Type and submit your comments and questions. How to cast your vote. We have provided two options to enable you partake in the voting exercise in real time. To vote via the online platform, kindly locate the vote box on the bottom of your broadcast screen and follow these steps. Enter the unique token number used to join the meeting. Click Cast Your Vote. Once you have done this, you will see a list of resolutions to be voted for. Follow the voting process by clicking the plus sign, then select your voting option. To vote via short code, dial *899*3# on your phone. Enter the unique code used in joining the meeting. Once you have done this, you can now select your vote option and send. You cannot vote once the chairperson closes the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Amoa. I hereby move that the Fund Manager's Report for the year ended December 31, 2023, and submitted to the meeting, be and is hereby received and adopted. Would someone please second this motion? To second, kindly go to the chat box, type your full name, and then type seconded.
Madam Chair, Ms. Henrietta Anane has seconded the motion.
Motion seconded. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting?
Madam Chair, there are no questions in the chat box.
I now open the online platform for voting on the motion to adopt the Fund Manager's Report for the year ended December 31, 2023. Voting is closed. Thank you.
Madam Chair, at the end of voting, 19 persons voted for the motion, no one voted against the motion, and no one abstained from the motion.
I declare that the motion has been duly carried. I hereby move that the trustees' report for the year ended 2023 and submitted to the meeting be and is hereby received and adopted. Would someone please second this motion?
Madam Chair, Mr. Pani Oforitete seconded the motion.
Motion seconded. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting?
Madam Chair, there are no questions in the chat box.
I now open the online platform for voting on the motion to adopt the trustees' report for the year ended December 31, 2020. Voting is closed. Thank you.
Madam Chair, at the end of voting, 31 persons voted for the motion, no one voted against the motion, and 2 persons abstained from the motion.
I declare that the motion has been duly carried. I hereby move that the statements of assets and liabilities accounts as of December 31, 2023, together with the income and distribution accounts, and the auditor's report thereon for the year ended on that date, and submitted to the meeting, be and are hereby received and adopted. Would someone please second this motion?
Madam Chair, Mr. Raymond Tete seconded the motion.
Motion seconded. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting?
Madam Chair, there are no questions in the chat box.
I now open the online platform for voting on the motion to adopt the financial statements report for the year ended December 31, 2023. Thank you.
Madam Chair, at the end of voting, 29 persons voted for the motion, no one voted against the motion, and 2 persons abstained from the motion.
I declare that the motion has been duly carried.
Madam Chair, we understand that some people online are having challenges because of the work, I think the network issues. So we would encourage those online to also use the short code for the voting process so they are able to participate.
Noted. The next item on the agenda is to fix the remuneration of the auditors, Baker, Tilly, Under and Under, in respect of the year ending December 31, 2024. In line with best practice, and as mentioned at last year's AGM, I hereby take this opportunity to move that the manager be and is hereby authorized to fix the remuneration of the auditor for the year ending December 31, 2024. Would someone please second this motion?
Madam Chair, Ms. Ajwai Atelba Osha has seconded the motion.
Motion seconded. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting?
Madam Chair, there are no questions.
I now open the online platform for voting on the motion to fix the remuneration of the auditors for the year ending 2023. Voting is closed. Thank you.
Madam Chair, at the end of voting, 33 people voted for the motion, 2 people voted against the motion, and 4 persons abstained from the motion.
I declare that the motion has been duly carried. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of SIMS, the manager of the Stanbic Income Fund Trust, I would like to thank you for your continued interest in the fund's affairs and for attending this meeting. I hereby declare the meeting formally closed. Thank you.
For the Stanbic Cash Trust or the Stanbic Income Fund and experience diversified and flexible investment solutions. Managed by your investment specialists. Stanbic Investment Management Services is licensed by the Securities and Exchange Commission and registered with the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. From markets and currencies to people and politics, everything today affects investment outcomes. If you cannot make the connection, you cannot make the money. We are one of Africa's and Ghana's largest fund managers. Stanbic Investment Management Services provides